Hi and welcome to Mandy's Makings. Today I'm going to play with this Dragon Eye. It's a Dragon Eye that I made. There's lots of videos on YouTube to find out how to make them. I'm not going to do one on that, but it's basically a red Dragon Eye and it's ready to go. So I'm going to see if I can do something smaller with it than my last Dragon Eye video. And this is more of a create with me video. So if you like that kind of thing and you want to sort of learn my creative process, definitely watch. So I'm using 18 gauge today. This is ParaWire and 26 gauge for my weaving wire. You're going to need some pliers, flat nose and straighteners and cutters. You're going to need all of that. I'm cutting myself off 3 lengths of 18 inches, 12 inches to start, because I think that's going to be big enough to do something small. The last time I made the pendant, it was about this big, so I want to try to do something more closer to the eye and something a little different this time. So let's see what happens. If you need a list of all the materials that we're working with today, they're going to be in the under the show more button below the video. If you like this kind of video and you want to see more of them, please like, share, and subscribe. Get your materials together, and I'll meet you back here in a couple minutes. Okay, I'm back, and I have my weaving wire, my 26 gauge. I just cut a really long piece, basically a full wingspan, which is the tip of this finger to the tip of this finger, stretched out like I'm going to hug somebody. So I have lots of weaving wire. I'm just going to try to pull it to the other side of me, avoiding all my tools and anything else. I have my 3 pieces, 12-inch length wire. So the first big thing we need to do is make the bail. So I'm going to do a weave on the bail. I always like to start that way, and I'm going to do the top-down model. So let's start a weave. So I think what I'm going to do is just do an anchor, a couple of wraps is all I'm doing, and I'm trying a new setup for the camera. Let me know if you like it better. And this gives you more my perspective of what I'm seeing, so that might help you get a better view of what you need to. So I did a couple of wraps. So actually, you know what? I think I'm only going to work with 2 wires. So I go around the one. I'm going to come around the back. I'm going to go around the top wire. See, this is create with me process. Do I need 6 wires, 3 on either side, or is 2 going to do it to hold the thing in? I'm going to need 3 wires. Okay, so I can't do the weave I was thinking about. So let's do another weave. So I did that one once. Whoa. So I'm going to do the top wire once, and then I'm going to do the top wire once again, and then I'm going to do the middle wire. And then I'm going to wrap around the bottom wire. And then I wrap around the bottom wire again. And then wrap around the middle wire. You get the idea. So basically I'm just wrapping around once each wire. There's probably a name for this weave, and one of these days I'm going to actually know all those names, and all of those viewers out there, if you know what this weave is, let me know. Because when I learned wire weaving, I didn't have the kind of access to the YouTube videos and things that are available nowadays where people name stuff, and I looked at a few books in the bookstore and at the libraries and stuff, but those were a long time ago, and then I just did my own thing. So see if we can get a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. Let's zoom in here. Whoop, wrong way. Okay, so my wires are wanting to twist all over on me here. Okay, so basically what I'm doing, and this is not snugging up tight, so let's push it in tight. There we go. See how I just use my pliers to push it in? So once around the bottom wire, I'm going to go around once more. So I'm doing 2 times on the top, 2 times on the bottom, and only once in the middle. And I'm going around the middle wire, and then around the top wire, and then around the top wire again, and then around the middle wire. So I'm coming around the back of the 2, whoops, I'm coming around the back of the 2 to be able to do around the bottom wire. And I come around the back each time to do them. So to the front. Now I'm being sloppy, so I'm gonna clean this up. So I take it, hold it on one side, and pinch. So this is what I have so far. Okay. So I'm going to do this for, this is not a very big Dragon's Eye. So it's, you know, not even as big as my thumb. It's pretty small. I don't know, 11, 12 millimeter maybe. So when I have about 3/4 of an inch, because I want to keep this small, 3/4 of an inch done, I'm going to come back and you do whatever weave you want on your wires, and we'll come back and we'll go from there. Okay, I'm back and I've got my weaving done, 3/4 of an inch, and I checked with my ruler. So now I need to do a bail. So I'm just going to show you, this is a crochet hook. So you can use, because sometimes I use a mandrel, I'm thinking, there's people out there may not have a little mandrel thingy. So, you know, you can use whatever you like to make your bails over. So obviously I need it bigger than that. That's probably not big enough. Let's see what I've got around here. Let's see. Do I have something thicker? Let's try to find a pencil. I found a pencil. Okay, so I got a pencil. Now this is going to be way too big. But I can start it on this. Or I can just use my hands. But basically what I want to do is I want to bend, and I put this approximately in the center of this wire, because we're doing it from the top down, the bail down method. So I'm going to start it just to get it started, and then I'm going to finish it with my fingers. So I'm sticking my finger in the side of this and I'm pushing it against my finger. Your fingers have this lovely curve, and you know, you're not going to squish it so tight that you're going to kill your fingers. So the idea is to get this down so that it meets in the middle, and I don't want, well, caught my weaving wire. Always fun when you do that and you send everything flying across the room. It happens, believe me. If you have done any wire weaving, do not feel like you're not qualified because you sent your weaving wire across the room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend both of these ends out just a little so they meet in the middle. So I'm just bending them out, just a slight curve. I'm not going 90 degrees or anything, because when I squish this together, I want these, see I'm squishing it together? I want them to meet. Now that's actually a decent sized bail. I'm happy with the size of this based on the size of this. I don't want this big massive bail. You're not going to, a nice piece of 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter, even 2 millimeter leather would fit through that, and that's the idea. Put a little piece of leather through it, hang this little Dragon Eye on it, perfect, right? So now I need to figure out what I'm going to do next. Well, I know I need to get rid of the white weaving wire on this top side here, this starter piece. So I'm just going to get rid of that where it's out of the way. And I'm just coming in with my nippers, and I'm just catching it sort of so it'll sit on the inside of that bail, the end of that, so I don't have to worry about getting rid of it any other way. And of course, little pieces of wire everywhere. Okay. Well, I'm going to start it one of my favorite ways. Let me come in just a little bit so make it easier for you guys. I don't want to come in too tight so I come off screen. So I brought this together. I'm going to wrap both wires neatly 2, 3, 4 times, so that sort of holds it together. And then I need to figure out how I want to get this on here. So I can splay my wires. I can put them all to the back and then bring them up and around. There's some options, right? So this is the process of, and I'm using a pretty heavy gauge wire, by the way. This is the process. I could just do them simply on either side and then trap the eye in this as well. Okay, so let me bring the wire. So I'm going to hold this like this, and I'm going to bring this set of 3 up this way, moving my weaving wire out of the way, this set this way. And I'm going to bring the other set, I'm just pulling them together as a unit across this way. Because I need somewhere to put the eye in, right? And it doesn't have a hole in it or anything, so I have to actually make sure it stays in there. that might work. So this is what my brain just did. If I take this out, and I take it out and do this a little curl here and then bring it back, and I do the same thing on the other side and bring them back, and I do that with all three, with each of them stepping closer to the eye. I don't know if that makes sense. Then there's a good chance, too many tools in the way, there's a good chance that it'll give me the Dragon Eye look, but it'll only be about that wide instead of a really big one. So let's give that a shot. Okay, round nose pliers. No, those are my crappy ones. Where's my other ones? There we are. I have two round nose pliers. So these ones, the reason I call them that crappy one is although they don't have any stuff on them, they have this weird finish and they're kind of grippy, which is nice, but they also are rougher. They're not quite as perfectly smooth as I'd like them to be. So I don't tend to use these, although I do occasionally for the very fine tip that I have. So just so you know. These are my good old Walmart specials, and I use them more often than not. You've seen them almost all my videos. I'm just trying to get my weaving wire out of the way. So I'm going to start with the bottom one here first, and I don't want to come out very far. I want, like, I'll make the one closest into the eye first. So I want to do a loop about here. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my eye going, I want this sort of to be the lid almost of the eye. Does that make sense? The top lid. So I'm making the corners from there. Yeah. So I want the one corner to be sitting sort of right here. So I need to do this fairly close, the first loop, fairly close to here. So I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I have no idea how this is going to turn out, guys, any more than you do. So we'll find out when we're done, and if it'll work or it won't work. So I'm bringing this around my flat nose, and I'm bringing it around. And I don't think I brought it in far enough, but... And I need to circle the other way. So I'm going to take this whole thing and flip my circle so my circle goes out. You know, like the tear duct in the middle of an eye. Okay. So yeah. So that's why I started with that one first. And then I can do the next one. So the next one I need to go closer. We'll worry about shaping it perfectly later. I'm trying to figure out a simpler format. I think I'm going to take these back to more straight down to cover the back of the eye a little bit. So we'll just do this with two. So I need to do this circle in even closer. So I'm coming closer, and I got to work around the other wires. So just I'm being cognizant of that. And although it's the second wire, I can bring it up above. It doesn't really matter. And I'm bringing it around my pliers. So I'm just bending it around my pliers, and bending it around my pliers, and I did this one the wrong way again, which is just because that's the way I work. So I'm flipping it around the other way and bringing this in here. I'm just tweaking this wire above. So I've got two corners of the eye sort of deal here. I think I need to tweak this in more. So how you tweak a circle in if it's too far out, is you stick your pliers in, and as you turn, it's going to make the bottom swing out. So I don't know if you can see this bottom piece swinging out, but it's actually shortening it up on that top wire. See how I'm shortening it up? I'm shortening it up. And it's bringing it closer to this wire here. Okay. So this is what I've got sort of so far. The two corners of the eye. I would have to tuck this back in underneath. Get up. There we go. Two corners of the eye on the one side. And this would give me two here to take care of. And then I'd have to do two on the other side. So I'm going to try to make two loops on the other side matching. And I will be right back. I'm going to get these settled a little bit better into place, but this is the creative process, so I'll be back as soon as I get ready and figure out how I'm going to put it in next. Okay, I thought you might want to see what I'm working on or how I'm doing this. So what I did was I took these wires here and I bent them backwards just a little bit so that their eye would have somewhere to sit. And then I put my eye on here and pushed it on top of the wire, those two wires at the bottom, and then I brought these two on the side here, and I'm pushing them against the wire to shape them, against the eye, to sort of shape them how I'm going to have them sit. Now, one of them has to be higher up on the eye so the eye doesn't fall out, and the other one can be closer to around the base of the eye. I may actually do a little bit of wire weaving in this bottom section here, and I'm thinking a couple of little beads in here, and I'm pretty happy. So now I have to repeat on the other side. So I have to do the same thing. I'm going to make two little loops, and then I'm going to bring these two wires actually on top of these two wires so that we have this sort of motion. And I have to make sure that these are in far enough that they catch the top of this eye so that it doesn't fall out from the front. It's kind of like working with a cabochon. You don't want it to fall out, you want it to stay in. It is a cabochon, it's just a Dragon Eye one. So you need to bring this top piece in enough that it's catching the top here, and I can actually even put something in there possibly to hold it a little bit better if we need to. So I'm going to put the two loops on this side and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I made the two loops on that side, and I joined them. The two of them came together here, sort of in the middle. And then what I did is, all I did was bend these two in behind, just bent them in behind, just to sort of hold it in place while I sort of played with it and molded it and tried to see what it would look like. I'm actually kind of liking that. It's missing something, and I think I know what it is. So I'm going to take this one wire that I brought around the back, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to curve it down, and then I'm going to curve it up to give him an eye. That's all it's missing. That's it. And then that actually prevents me from having to wire weave down here, plus the wires are connected over here. I haven't connected anything yet. This is all still just loose wire sitting around. And I have my weaving wire up top that I haven't done anything with yet. So I like that a lot. That would give me a chance to fasten this off and make you know, another little spiral or something. So I'll bring it up just a little bit more, and I'm going to bend that over. So in this bottom I can do the same sort of thing, where I have these bottom wires I haven't done anything with. They're just sitting here loose, see? So I need to do something with them. So I could bring them around a little further. Maybe. Let's see. So I bring that one up. So I'm looping it up. I'm just sticking my thumb in there where I wanted to start and bringing this around like that. See how that's, if I get rid of all these extra wires sticking out here, see how much, that's much more like a dragon's eye? And I'm actually pretty happy with that. Okay. So this is just simple wire molding is all I'm doing. I just got to make sure everything stays in nice and tight. So I'll have to take the pliers to this a little bit to make sure she sits in tight. And this wire here, what do I got going on the back? Okay, so this wire is the one that comes around. This wire I can just finish off. So I can just finish it off on the back here. So let's do that. Let's start finishing off some of these wires. Worst case scenario, I hate it, and we start again. So I'm going to fasten it to this wire here, sort of up in here where it's out of the way, and I'm going to just snip off enough that I can start a loop. So I'm just snipping it off, and then I'm going to start a loop. So I'm going to show you if I can from this side. The loop isn't all the way, it's just a partial loop. I'm going to hook it around this wire, and this wire is still movable, so I can hook it around this wire quite easily. I'm going to take these, come on, get in there, take these pliers, if I can get them in there. I don't want to scratch the back of my dragon's eye, so. And I'm avoiding the dragon's eye and flipping this wrong. Okay, there we go. Oh, you are being a persnickety little snick. Come on, get in there. And all I'm doing is curling my pliers around that wire so that that fastens onto that. Okay, so that's part's secured. So these two wires I'm going to worry about later. This one here is my top wire here that comes around and under. So let's do the same with that one. This is also setting up a grid on the back to protect the Dragon Eye, so this is also a good thing. I'm just debating whether I want to finish it there or over here. So I'm going between the two possible places, so. I think I'm going to do it here. So that's about a couple of millimeters that I'm leaving there. Just enough to get the curve started. See this, I've got my little ones in here. Actually, probably that's too much. It is. So let's get rid of these little scrappy pieces of wire. There we go. And now we need the round nose pliers and bring it in to make the C-hook to start it. Curling it in. Pliers around the wire. So I'm taking my pliers, I don't know if you can see this and see the hook there, and I'm squeezing to try to tuck it underneath and to secure it so it's not going anywhere. Now before I get much further, I need to check that my eye is sitting the way that I want it sitting. Okay, so this is the bottom lid. Bring that one down a little bit. Because I don't want to cover his eyeball all the way. I just want to have So I'm going to bring that around there. That holds these two ends together, so I'm holding that around there. I'm going to tuck this down. I'm just moving things around on the cabochon, basically. And I'm going to make a spiral with my finger. So I'm taking my thumb and I'm pushing it against there, and I'm turning it, this last little piece of wire, and making a spiral. See how it made another little spiral there? And I'm going to do another one. I don't have much wire left, so two. And then this last one I'm actually going to do with my pliers. Make sure that that's closed off. And that's way too low. So I don't like that last spiral. I think it's too low. So I'm going to take rid of it. So I'm just going to take my cutters, flush side to the work that I want to leave. I'm going to cut it at the spiral before that, because I don't like that spiral. I think there's too much there, and I like the two there. And I'm just going to make sure that this is down as far as it'll go, so that there's nothing to catch on there. So I have this wire here to take care of, and I think I need a third one here. Let me just take the pliers and I'm going to squish this down a bit here, where I've overlapped it here. I'm going to have to do some securing work, some weaving wire, but that's okay. I'm just squishing that in so it's not so round and it's a little more secure. Okay, so now I'm going to bring this around. It's on the front side. See, I brought it from the bottom and I'm bringing it up in front of this loop here. And I'm starting another loop. It's much easier to do with my other hand, so I'm going to switch hands. starting a loop, and I'm putting it between my two fingers if you need to, so that it makes a loop. And I actually have the loop backwards, so I get it a little smaller, and then I'm going to take it. If you do that, if you put the loop in, it's backwards. Don't panic. Just go like this and flip the loop. Your wire will flip. See? Now the loop's the right way. I'm going to bring this back down around the bottom, and I'm going to fasten it off on the back here. Now this piece would be a good opportunity to secure my back two wires here. I need to figure out if I want to do anything with them first though before I do that. So, okay, so I need to, this is not secured very well. So I'm actually going to bring this down a little farther, my weaving wire. Just to sort of cover that up. And then I need to wrap it around just one single wire. Sorry, I'm swinging all over the place here. One single wire several times so that it secures it. So let's see which wire I want to do that to. One of the back ones preferably. So what's easiest to access? Okay, so I'm going to go through here. I'm going through this hole here. And I'm going to move my pliers out, which are catching the wire. Just making sure it doesn't kink. I'm pulling it through. And I'm going to wrap once. Now, if you're wrapping a wire, one of my tricks is to pull the wire in the direction you're going to be wrapping it. My wire is really long. And I'm going to put it back in the same spot again. And what I'm trying to do is lay the wire beside the other wire so that I'm not making a hot mess. And the wires look nice and neat on the back. So pull it in tight, and I'm going to do it one more time so make sure this is good and secure. That this wrapping around the bail here is not going to change or move. And I have to straighten out my bail big time, it's all squished. That's okay. Okay, so I've got that as far as I want it. I'm going to take this off way back towards the dragon's eye. I'm trying to dig my way back in with the tips of my nippers, or your cutters. And I took off my wire, and so it's way back in there. It's in behind and you won't see it or feel it. Let me move the weaving wire out of the way. So this is what I have. I have a dragon eye that kind of looks like this, and I'm actually thinking it's pretty cool. It's pretty simple. So I just need to put I need some beads or something, just little beads to go in here, just to make it more dragonish. And I'm not liking the amount of space between each one of these here, so I need to do some tweaking on that. And it's not very secure. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of wire wrapping with the wrap wire. So I need to think about, at this point, when I'm putting this back piece on, I really need to give somewhere to wrap around. So if I bring this out like this, closer to this, then I can actually wrap this to just make it secure. And I'm thinking I'd like a little bit of a spiral, a spiral here that's sort of underneath these wires a little bit to protect this backing. So I'm going to cut this off, make a spiral, put it in here on the one side. And then this other one, I have a lot of other things that I can wrap to here. So I just need to finish this off. So I could do this with this other one. Let me see. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to secure this top little wire. Okay. I'm using my fingers and whatever else to sort of move things around. Okay. So I'm going to take this and secure it over these two. I'm not going to do a spiral now. I'm going to leave these two the way they are. I'm going to wrap these probably around this wire first, and then I'm going to bring this wire after I've wrapped them around and over and secure and tuck it sort of in there so it's out of the way. So let me show you with a pointer or something that might be a little easier to see. Okay, here's something to point with. So this wire here, the one that's coming from the front, from the last loop that I just made, from right here, that wire comes here, and then it comes around the back. And I'm going to just take it, and I'm going to eventually fold it over top and tuck it into here, right beside the Dragon's Eye. These two here, I'm going to wrap the bottom one first around this wire. So I'm going to move this one out of the way. I'm going to take this wire, put it more straighter up, wrap it around once, cut it off. Then I'll wrap this one around once and cut it off. And then I'll take this, and that'll cover those two wraps, bring it down along the side and tuck it into here once it's cut off. I don't know if that makes any sense. And then we need to figure out what, I'm going to drag some beads out. Think what would actually look good with this. I need something red or fiery looking. I have some orange, yellow fire polish that I think I might use. So I'm going to pull those out and see how I feel about it, and we'll go from there. Okay, some of you might want to see my process. Let me zoom this back out a bit. Whoop, wrong way. This is just one of my storage containers from Walmart. So this is my pendant. I ended up making one more swirl and bring this around here, but everything's fastened and it's stuck. Now I have to decorate. So this is a 4mm check glass polish bead, and I'm thinking something like this might look really cool. This is my small millimeter beads, some of them that I have. So this here's I've got some green ones, and these are 2mm. See, they're really tiny. So the green ones could go in each hole. So I'm trying to figure out then those are kind of fun. Those are mirror fern green, 2mm fire polish faceted. And I also have these are copper that might add to, it'll be more of a mixed metal thing, but I could add some of those in those little corners. I just want to polish it up, and these are Fire Polish True 2s, Violet Rainbow. So I'm playing around with my smaller, there's a bigger copper, and I think these are 3mm, yeah. And that's what I'm doing. I'm literally going, So I'm thinking I want one of these fire polish. I got one out already. And I think I want it like right on that center one there. And then I think I want, I think I'm going to use the True 2s. Yeah, the True 2s. And put one on either side of that. And then I think I'm going to just use the True 2s on the other side of this eye on this side. So now we have to put them on. So let's pull out the True 2s. And those are little True 2, you can see the label. Let's see if I can get it to focus. Fire Polish True 2s, 2mm Violet Rainbow. It comes in a 50 pack. There's 50 little beads in here. I haven't opened this one yet. Okay, let's close my down, and I shut it. And I move it out of the way before I spill the beads and they end up on the floor. Never a good thing. Okay, I'm still not 100% liking this curve here. So one of the things I've learned over time, I'll share a little bit of wisdom with you. And let me turn that off so that the light's not so funky for you guys. That was my magnifying light so I could see better. One of the things I've learned is that if I can do it with my fingers, I try to do it with my fingers first, because I'm less likely to damage the wire if I use my finger, especially when I'm using like ParaWire. So I think I'm okay with that. And this is not, it's in there, it's not going anywhere. And the back is quite decorative, and it's covering enough of, there's nothing sticking out. I could probably flatten it a little bit more. Remember, I have to secure this end still to these wires, so got to do that yet. And I'll do that as part of the process of putting the beads on. So let's get some weaving wire. Now I don't need to work with, I probably have 2 feet of weaving wire left. And I would normally use a scrap, but I used all my scraps the other day. So I'm just going to pull myself off a piece, I don't know, 8 inches or so. Move the other piece out of the way. Nothing goes to waste, so anything bigger than 5 inches of weaving wire, I keep. Because sometimes I just need to stitch on one bead, and that little bit of weaving wire is the perfect amount for putting on one bead. So I said I was going to put that fire polish there, right? So since I have to anchor it to the back here anyways, I'm going to stick my weaving wire up through the back here. There we go. And I'm gonna try and get it to wrap around, and it's being persnickety. So there we go. And I could have left myself a little bit more length there. But I'm gonna wrap it around under this wire a couple of times. And this is me being chintzy with wire. Yeah, you're getting the real me. No holds bar. When you do the crate with me, you're getting who I am. This is me trying to figure things out and have fun and create. Now something like this, I know a question that people often ask other people. Okay, that won't go around anymore, so I'll do the other one. I'll put this one around. I'm just anchoring it 3 times, putting the wire around it 3 times to make sure it's good. One of the people ask us, how much would you sell this for? The actual cabochon didn't cost me much. The painting of the eye, and I just undid it. Brilliant. Those of you who watch my videos know that I have visual issues, so I actually couldn't tell which way that wire was wrapped around the... There we go. Let's do it again. There we go. And one more time. And I'm holding on to the tail this time. How much did you charge for this? For the amount of work that it takes, and the, you know, this is probably about $12, $12.50, maybe $12.95. I wouldn't charge a lot for this. This would sell for $12.95. Especially for the painting part. Painting takes like a couple of days as far as letting it dry and everything. So I'm taking off this other piece of, the little back piece of weaving wire. I'm just straightening out the end of my weaving wire. Can get a little kinky, so straightening that out. And I'm going to bring this around so that when I affix... Okay, so I'm not showing you. What I'm trying to do is aim for the hole here. Without... I just want to get it around... Oh, it's being right here. Right there. In that space there. Try not to kink my wire any more than I already have. Come on, there we go. Okay. So that brings it to the front in the middle, which is where I want it to be, is in that middle section. So now I need to see this edge piece here. This is loose still. So I'm going to put this across here. And it also puts me at a better angle. Keep that on twisting that so I don't get it. So I'm going to go around that once. So I'm fully wrapped around it once to catch it so that it won't catch on clothing and pull up. Okay, so now I need to put my bead on. So I'm trying to figure out the best angle to get it at. Okay. So I'm going to take my wire and put it, now that I have a wire going across here, there's something to stop this wire from sliding all the way down here, like this. So I can put this back through on top of this other wire that I just put over here. Did this end up getting caught when I went around? Yes, it did. Dang it. Okay. I'm pulling. Fixing that. Thank you. It's like, why is this not behaving? Okay, so I'm making a little hook. And I'm finding my way. Because there was another piece. It was just like when you're working with thread. If you get a piece that you catch on something. Okay. I get my super magnifying glasses on. Okay, so when I bring this down now, it's not going to look so ugly. 3 mil. So part of this is securing. Part of this is finding a place. So I don't like... See how there's bare wire there first? And then there's that? So I need to stick on one of my True 2s first. Because I don't like the bare wire. They should call these packaging childproof packaging, because I can never find the opening to start this thing, and when I cut it open I end up with beads everywhere. There we go. I got lucky. It's like groping in the dark to trying to find your clothing in the middle of the night. There we go. Pull a couple out. So there are different tones, but most of them have a copperish tone as the background. So I'm chasing my bead around my board. I'm going to put that on first, and then I'm going to put on this one. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. Doo-doo. Much better. I like that much better. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap around this wire underneath. Once, pull it tight. 2 times. Okay, now this is where we decide whether I have anything else beside this. So I think I do. So I can either travel or I can restart. That's your 2 choices. You could travel your wire along, or you can restart. And because I don't want a lot of wire weaving on this, we have the bail that I straightened out a little bit more when I was gone. I gotta fix that wire. That's your 2 choices. So if I come down through here, I'm just going to check before I pull tight. Putting up through that hole. I want to see what that looks like and what that does to my bead. So I'm okay with that. First of all, it doesn't look bad on the back. And it doesn't look too bad on the front either. So then I'll wrap it around once. And I like to be coming upwards when I put a bead on. So let's put one of these True 2s on the wire. And I don't know if you noticed, but I just literally straightened my wire out so I could put the bead on. So that's all you do. And again, I don't think that's enough. And I don't know if I like how that looks. I think when I look at that, like that, I like that better than I like it with that other bead. So I think I'm going to take that off and make this my fastening point. I'm going to tuck that under as much as I can. I'm going to go around one more time, and this is going to finish off that wire. Now, normally, I would have fastened it, I'm cutting in the hole here. And then I'm going to take these pliers here and make sure it's rounded off so there's nothing catching on anything. Okay, I can still see something, I think. There we go. I like that better with just something simple on there. The fire polished and the True 2 on this little section here. That adds enough. So let me grab a piece of wire, and I'm just going to take a look at something. I don't want to go too crazy because the idea is to make this simpler and less expensive, because the more things I add like this, the more the cost goes up. So if I add lots of fire polish and special order beads, then you got to charge more because you have to. Come on, get on. because I do love beads on the eyelids. But no, that's not going to work. And one thing over here, I'm just looking. Sorry, I don't have you on screen. I'm sorry. What I've done is put a couple of beads on this wire, and I'm just holding them up places to see if I want something on the other side. And you know what? I think I'm done. I'm happy with this the way it is. The idea was to make something simpler, smaller. So let's just tweak the bail to make sure the bail's good. I'm going to actually take my round nose pliers and make sure that it's nice and rounded in there. And I'm being careful that I'm not destroying my weave. I'm just on the inside, not worried as much. I'm just doing one of these with my round nose pliers, making sure it's nice and solid. Now I'm going to just grab a little piece of leather cording. So I'm pulling over some of my leather end cord. So here's a piece of leather. And if I put that through there, and I put some wire wrapped ends on the end, you have a nice little dragon pendant. And I'm happy with that. I really like that. So yeah, I should have that up in my Etsy store in the next couple of days. So enjoy. I hope you liked this Create With Me video. I'm sure that I didn't answer a bazillion of your questions, because I made this a little more organic. I just did it on the spot. And, you know, a lot of people who might be newer might be going, how do I do that? Just play with your wire. That's the only thing I can recommend, is play with your wire. Don't be afraid. This was literally 36 inches of wire, which, you know, it's like, I don't know, even if you say, if it cost you, because you have to ship it and you live in the UK or Netherlands or something, and it cost you $1, not even $1, 35 cents or 40 cents a foot. You've used 3 feet. So it's $1 and a change. It's less than a cup of coffee. So play. That's the only way you're going to learn, is play and have fun with it, and enjoy the process of playing, because that's how you learn how to make things work for you. Okay? So again, this is the back. This is how it ended up, but I'm quite happy with that. And this is the front. And the only wire weaving we had to do is this here on the top. I gotta make a couple of quickie adjustments, because I can see this wire is not as tight as it should be. So I'll fix that up, and I want you to keep on making from Manny's Makings, and take care. And I will see you on Friday with another chain tutorial.